Hello, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. I'm Jami Ballantyne-Dolby, and I'm joined by Amber Clear and Taylor Symone Harris. Hello, ladies. How are you all doing?
Hi, Jami. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I cannot wait. If you have not seen my photos from Trunk or Treat, check the IG. I'm gonna actually send a photo in so they can see it, but check my IG. It was amazing. Are you all ready for the new holiday season?
Yes.
Yeah, super stoked. Yeah.
Okay, y'all know I don't like pumpkin spice, so I'm over that. But right now, for me, I'm loving like wintertime St. Louis. Like, you know how there's a summertime shy, but I love wintertime STL. And Amber, what are you loving these days?
I'm loving the prep for the holidays. I think people are really getting into it this year. I'm seeing more lights, more decorations, more holiday parties than in the last few years. And I am super stoked for that because, of course, with comedy, that means a great paycheck for me because these people want entertainment at their parties.
Period. Make us laugh. Taylor Symone, what are you into these days?
Yes, I am loving that we are having this perfect weather for a lot of fall activities coming up. Like, I'm a big amusement park girl. So I know that Six Flags is launching their St. Louis Holiday in the Park on November the 20th. So I am excited to go out to the park and enjoy the winter festivities.
Okay, I'm afraid of like amusement parks, but I will go with you. So let me know. We're gonna all roll out there.
Yeah, you can all.
I'm gonna stay in the car.
The food is
I don't do
good to enjoy.
Yeah, I'm like you, JP. I don't do pumpkin spice and I don't do amusement. I don't want people jump scaring me.
Yeah, no, I'm not really into that either. But
yeah,
it's a vibe. It's a vibe. We do need to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll be talking about safety and everything you need to know from auto thefts to holiday shopping. Stay with us.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. It may be the most wonderful time of the year, but it's not the time to let our guard down. From the rash of auto thefts that have been dominating the headlines to holiday burglaries and more, our guest today is bringing us the gift of knowledge when it comes to protecting ourselves and our loved ones. Please help us welcome Captain Christi Marks with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you, Captain Marks. We are so excited to have you on today. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna get right into it because I want people to know this is not a St. Louis issue, and it was not created in St. Louis. But one thing about St. Louis folks, we will perfect things and take it to the next level. So the auto thefts, and we know the Kia boys and their cousins have really made their ways in the St. Louis streets with auto thefts, and it's not really isolated to Kias. Can we just get right into it? What do we do to help stop the auto theft problem?
Well, the first thing that I would suggest is never leave your vehicle running unattended, or your key fob, or your key in your ignition, or your key fob in your car. And we ask too during the holidays, as you're pumping gas, please secure your vehicle and take your key fob out of your car and put it in your pocket. We ask that you never leave your vehicle unlocked. Don't leave the spare key in your car. Always try to park in well-lit areas. Don't leave your vehicles or your valuables in plain sight. Never leave a firearm in your car. And try to use an anti-theft device. And the best anti-theft device, especially that you mentioned Hyundais and Kias, as we know are dominating the auto theft issue, is a car club. And in St. Louis, you can pick up a car club at cost from the Revenue Office at City Hall or at the 5-Star Senior Center in the 2800 block of Arsenal. And right now we have found that those are the best deterrents that you cannot become a victim.
I think you're right. I mean, they were very popular back in the day, but they're making a comeback and a needed comeback. I'm sorry, Amber?
Yeah, I want to know what the requirements are. Like, how do you pick up these car clubs? Like, what do I got to do to get one?
is all you have to do is show up, and for $15 at the 5-Star Senior Center in the 2800 block of Arsenal, you can just show up and you can buy a car club. And at the Department of Revenue in City Hall.
That's awesome. So it's not just for Kia owners.
No, it's just not for Kia owners, but if you own a Kia or Hyundai, we highly and strongly suggest that you get one.
Yes, I know that recently that you guys held kind of a car club drive where you guys gave out free car clubs to the community, that if you owned a Kia or a Hyundai, you come out and get that. So I really appreciate that. Also, I wanted to know, in today's climate with everything that's going on, how do you, how does the police department ensure the trust of, I guess, the public, and making sure that you guys are building that trust to make sure it's not just we see the uniform, that we know it's a human behind that uniform?
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because I often tell people when I have a chance to engage with the community is my officers and all of us, we are just like you. We put on our shirts on in the morning just like you. We get up and have our coffee just like you. But when we button our shirt, there happens to be a metal badge hanging on that shirt. And that's the really only thing that makes us different. And we're called upon to do this job because when we put that badge on, we become a police officer that day and that shift. So I often find it very useful to get out in the community when I do have time. I even myself get out there and I'll go door to door and I'll knock on doors. And citizens, when they open the door, they don't expect me just to be there to engage in some conversation. But when we finally do, they are so pleasantly surprised. And I believe that the community enjoys that and they want us to get back to that. And we are busy and we are going call to call. But when we have those moments, I think I try to lead by example and get out there. And when my officers and detectives see me out there doing it, I often find that I see them too. So I think we lead by example. And as I think as the community expresses that they want the officers back on the street again, they want to see them walking, they want to see them engaging. And I think as long as the community keeps wanting it, and we are back in touch with the community and we get out there and we are engaging in non-enforcement capacity, I do believe we will change things around one thumbprint at a time.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. You are making policing really more of a community thing. We're going back to that as more police officers. They're not necessarily everybody's neighbor, but we are bringing that community feel. What's something that we can do to kind of help protect ourselves? I know we put a lot of pressure on our police officers and it's their responsibilities, but what's some preventative measures that we can do at home to stop, holiday theft and car burglaries? We talked about the clubs, but there's other kind of thefts, especially during the holiday season, that we can do at this time.
Absolutely. And some of the things, the biggest crime during the holidays is burglaries. And everybody knows that you want to feel safe and secure in your home. So there's just some tips that we can ask that you do, like lock all your windows and doors, install quality deadbolts, put an alarm or a camera system if you can afford it, illuminate your residence, a porch light. I often go around at night and a lot of people don't turn their porch lights on. Light up the night, light up your neighborhood. If you have a light out, please report it to the Citizen Service Bureau. Criminals do not they enjoy operating in the dark. They don't operate in the light, not as often, especially on these types of crimes of burglaries and thefts. So we ask that you use timers and motion detectors if you're going to be out of town. Stop your mail, talk to your neighbors, ask them to look out for your house. Let's see, leaving valuables in plain sight in your house. When you get that brand new fancy TV, let's make sure we're breaking down that box and putting it in the dumpster, and we're not advertising to the whole neighborhood, look, I just got this fancy TV in my house. So just some of those small tips that can help you prevent a burglary and keep yourself a little safer.
I just watched the Bling Ring documentary. And also stop posting on social media where you are. Wait till you get back home to share your videos, because you just saying, come take it.
Yeah.
What's one of the things that you've seen kind of in the city of St. Louis that's a lot of very different from other communities? I know that when you talk about calling the Citizen Service Bureau, a lot of our residential streets also are mixed with residential homes, renters, commercial. Does that play a part in the crime that we're seeing, or it's just the makeup of a metropolitan city like St. Louis?
I don't think that in particular, just those things affect the crime. But I will tell you, regardless of what neighborhood you're living in, say there's a business that's closed down, and you see that the boards have been removed or someone's there that shouldn't be there. And I think probably the best thing is to know your community and get out and meet your neighbors and the businesses, so we know what belongs and doesn't belong, and utilize those connections, because here the public wants us to get out and engage with the community, but we encourage the community to engage within themselves. And I think, the old school of neighborhood watch, or the someone in your neighborhood. I love my nosy neighbors. I invite my nosy neighbors because they look out for things when I'm away at work. So I would strongly encourage citizens to just know who lives on your block, who belongs, who doesn't. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your pretty much just know everyone that you can that's surrounding you. And in saying that, just being aware of your surroundings is also, we have some tips that we can discuss about personal safety during the holidays.
What are some of those personal tips as someone, I've been a victim of crime, I've been a victim of one-on-one crime. What are some safety tips that can be useful for all of us, especially during this time of year?
Definitely, I always tell people, trust your intuition. That sixth sense that you have, it's there for a reason, and it can keep you safe. Pay very close attention to your surroundings. When someone approaches you, try to avoid them because you don't know what they're going to ask you. I know I once had a situation when I was younger. Someone came up and approached me, and in my mind, I thought they were going to ask me for the time. But when they did approach me, they actually hit me in the head and stole my purse. So some of the things, that's why I tell people, please don't let strangers get too close to you, even if you think they might have a reason. Carry as few items as possible. Avoid carrying, especially during the holidays, large purses. Try to look for a smaller purse that you can keep close under your arm to your person, and walk with a purpose. Know where you're going ahead of time. Have a plan. If you see, we call it muscle memory in the police world, but have a plan. So have you ever sat and thought, if this would happen to me, what would I do? What am I capable of doing? Can I scream? Can I run? Just some of those things. I want people to think about those things, because if someone should approach you, if you have a plan and you've thought about it, you're more likely to do the things you've thought about or practiced than if you've never thought or practiced something. So, and then we talk about jewelry, purses. Don't make yourself a target. There's a lot of things that we can do. Try to avoid walking alone. We're going to go to a lot of, someone mentioned parties, holiday parties. Going out with our friends and family during the holidays. Make sure that you walk with someone else. Walk to your car. Convenience someone, say, hey, would you mind walking in my car? You're less likely to be a victim of a crime if you're with someone else. So those are just some of the things at the top of my head that I would strongly suggest, especially to women during the holiday season.
Thank you so much. We do need to take a quick break, but we still have so much to talk about. Please stay with us. There's more with Captain Marks when we return.
I understand. I know it's not your typical resume.
Okay, well.
But candidate. But I've been working double shifts just to pay for books. I've been raising my 2 little brothers. I'm determined, driven, motivated. Isn't that what you're looking for?
Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent at gradsoflife.org.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. We're speaking with Captain Christi Marks with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. Thank you, Captain Marks, for staying with us, because I think the information you're giving is really useful for everyone, especially during this time of year. Amber?
I have all of the questions. One of the things that I try to do when I'm traveling is remember to even lock my vehicle when I'm getting gas, because my purse is like usually sitting in my vehicle and stuff like that. But let's pretend that a crime already happened. What are my next steps that, like, if I see someone steal my purse, steal my car, like, what do I do now?
The first thing you should do is, of course, call 911 and give as many details as possible. However, people don't naturally remember lots of details. So something I would ask you all to do is, next time you're driving and you're at a red light or a stop sign, look over to the side and just look at someone or look at something. And then try to remember as many details as you can after you look away. And then look back and try to see if you were right. And if you train your brain to remember details like that, you will more likely remember details when something happens under high stress. So getting back to the question, call 911 and give as many details as you can. from the color, make, and model of a car, to a license plate, to a description of a person, from their hair color, to their clothing, to anything if they have glasses, facial features, birthmarks, anything descriptive, colors of pants, shoes, as much detail as you can provide is very helpful.
I'm always amazed when, like, you always, like, I listen to crime podcasts all the time, right? So in my mind, I'm a detective. I am not. However, I'm always amazed that, like, witnesses, they all have a very different description. It's not that one person is not really telling the truth. It's in their mind, that's what they remember seeing, or they really don't remember seeing that detail and they're just trying to be helpful. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. I know that Taylor Symone has had some personal experiences with crime in this city. And I don't know if you're willing to share that, Taylor.
Yes, I would love to ask Captain. I actually was downtown and I was going to go pick up some food and parked and locked my doors and put my hazard lights on because it's really not a parking spot. But I ran in literally for 2 minutes, grabbed the food, came back out, and someone was trying to break into my car, but they could not. And in that instance, I yelled and said, "Hey," and then they ran away. But I've never been told what to do when you're actually witnessing someone trying to break into your car. I didn't even know what to do. What would you, what are some tips that you can give if someone is witnessing like a crime happening or someone trying to break into their vehicle?
Well, nowadays, I would highly suggest just if you can bring attention to it, or maybe flash a light, or say you're at home and you see, and someone's in your car outside and you're alerted either by a detector or so forth, or you see that, try to flash your porch lights before, say it's dark, before you confront someone. I would highly suggest never confronting someone, even if they are trying to take something from you personally. Do not get in an altercation with someone, because we can replace things, we cannot replace you. So that might be contrary to what some people might think, but that is the advice that I like to give people. So of course, call 911, give the best description if you can as that subject, but don't try to intervene in that crime, because I don't want to see anyone get hurt.
Yes, I definitely agree.
I love that. That's really good advice. I remember in my first apartment, I didn't have an alarm, and I don't really know why, just probably didn't choose to get one at the time, but someone gave me a tip to take my key fob to bed with me, like to my bedroom. And so if someone breaks in or you hear anything, you can just set off the panic alarm button. And even though I have an alarm system, I have cameras, probably too many all around my house now, I still do that because I figure if I set my alarm off in the garage, it's going to not just alert the robber, it's probably going to alert definitely my nosy neighbors. I know they're watching. It's probably going to alert them, and thankful they're super nosy, so they'll call somebody for me. But
that's actually great advice. And so in that situation that she was describing, hitting that panic alarm on a key fob, if you do have one, and criminals do not like attention. So if we can do it that way, and I think that is a great point, and we can do that even approaching our car. If we see someone around it, set that off before you ever get to it.
When people say call 911 or call the police department, I know that in certain communities, they have reason for concern just because of historical things that have happened. But tell us why it's important to have that relationship with community policing and getting to know your police officers, because sometimes we call you in emergencies for somebody else, and sometimes we think it's all bad, but what are the other ways the police department has really come to the rescue of individuals or communities in St. Louis?
Well, that's kind of multifaceted question, but I think this kind of tells the tale to kind of what you're describing. Sometimes we find that, there are people that, may not like police officers because for whatever reason. And I've often told my officers, sometimes when we do have that free time to get out and engage, are we stopping by the places that we know support the police? Are we stopping by the places that really don't support the police? And why don't we, when maybe the only time they have interaction with the police is when they're a victim or something bad happens? So what about using those business checks or those checks when we do that self-initiated activity to get out and go to the places maybe that aren't the most supportive and have the best relationships with the police. And if we just stop in and say, hey, how are you doing today? Is there anything that you need? Is there anything we can do for you? And if over time you leave those type of thumbprints when nothing bad is happening and when they're not a victim of a crime, and over time, I think that canvas starts changing. So one of the things that we can do is be a little proactive in checking on people when they're not a victim and getting out there and engaging and changing that canvas.
What do you wish the general public knew about the police behind the scenes? Other than, obviously, you guys are people, and at the end of the day, you are a person. But what do you wish that they knew about you?
It gives me chills when you say that, because I do believe the majority of people really do support the police. And for the ones that don't understand, I would just remind people that the average age, say, in our city of an officer we hire is 24 years old. And that's somebody's kid, that's somebody's grandkid. And just like every one of us, when we started our first job, were we the best at it? No. Did we know everything? No. But I just want to tell you, when people sign up to do this job, they are coming on for the right reasons. And they're just your kid, they're your grandkid. It's somebody's child who signed up to be a police officer for all the right reasons. And those that don't, we will weed them out and they will show themselves. But for the majority of the people that come on, they want to help the community. They want to help people. And that's the number one thing we hear when people interviews, they want to help people, and they truly do. And I would just want people to remember they're out there. Unfortunately, we have to make tough decisions. Sometimes we have to do things that people don't always like, but that comes with the nature of the job. But at the end of the day, they are just like you. They put their shirt on, they got out of bed, they kissed their kids goodbye, and their wife or spouse goodbye, their significant other, or their parents, and they came to work to do their job. And at the end of the day, they just want to go home to their families and their loved ones. And when they're here for the right reasons. They love and they support you. They're serving their community. At the end of the day, there is a life of service in what we do, but we are just a human being that got up in the morning and put a shirt on that says St. Louis City Police, and they're going out there to protect and serve their community every day.
Captain Mark, what got you into policing?
You know, I was one of those kids that I'm a problem solver. And that's something I tell my young officers. We're all, even in business, we're all looking for people that can solve a problem. And I think I just was naturally a problem solver. I actually was drawn towards math, but really in policing, it's solving problems. And I think there's a lot of correlations there. And when I was little, I liked solving problems. And when I, finished school, I took criminal justice and criminology and business also. But I found that I was the best fit for my personality because I wanted to help people. And I think I can use both skill sets. And I found it to really be a good fit for me.
Well, I think you do a fabulous job. You sound like such a great person. I'm thankful that you're one of the people protecting the city.
Thank you.
What would you say for the people that don't know, why are criminals targeting the Kias and the Hyundais when it comes to theft?
Well, there is a video that was put out there by some kids that found that those two models of cars, makes and models of cars, were easier to steal than others. And I know the manufacturer of those cars, I believe, are one and the same, and they are working towards correcting that issue. So I think once the criminals and the people that were out there stealing cars found that out, they exploited it by using social media. And then all the other little criminals that are on social media, they also started trying that and found that they were very successful at stealing those cars.
Thanks a lot, social media. I know that social media is not all bad, but it's really, it's hard some days, but we really appreciate you. Captain Marks, thank you so much for joining us today. Before you go, can you please tell our viewers the best way they can get in touch with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, whether it be for more tips or any other kind of assistance?
I would tell people to go to slmpd.org. And if you want to get more crime information and crime prevention information, you can go to our website and go to crime information, and under the drop-down menu, go to crime prevention. We encourage people to call 911 in a case of an emergency. And if it's a non-emergency, call 314-231-1212.
Thank you so much. Stay with us. There's more. Let's talk when we return.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice, she's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
That was really good information with Captain Marks. I know that I personally had not used a club probably since, I don't know, 2002 or so. But recently my dad brought a club that I had in high school over to the house with keys still in it. I don't know why he still had it, but I'm glad he did, because you never really know. And I was actually able to use it for someone that was visiting town with IKEA, and was able to give that to them because they had not heard of the rise in thefts in those vehicles. Taylor, are you using a club now? What are some things that you're doing to kind of change and protect yourself?
Yes, so thank you, big thank you to the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department for having that drive where they gave out free car clubs to Kia and Hyundai owners. I am using that every day to make sure that I do not encounter any theft when it comes to my vehicle. So I would highly recommend that you use that because there's no way they can take your car when that club is on there. So
did you know how to use it? Did somebody have to teach you how to use it, or did you?
Yes, I did. You know, I always saw my grandmother use it. I never used it before. So it was definitely a little teaching moment, but I got it now.
Good. Use it, and don't do like me. Once I lost mine, I lost the key.
You did not.
Don't do that. I promise you, you don't want to go through what that's like, because it's really not easy to get into it if you lose the key to it. So from
I make sure it's on my keychain, so it's not going anywhere.
I think that at the end of the day, we have to realize that criminals are opportunistic, and we can say, oh, I have insurance, it doesn't matter. Like, the more cars that get stolen, the higher our insurance goes. And sometimes the things that we have to do to prevent theft, they're not stylish, they're not fashionable. Nobody wants to be like, oh, I live in a neighborhood where I have to use the club. But like, if you're all using the club, then you become a neighborhood that doesn't have to use the club, but you should still use the club. And I think that it's important to remember that Kia and Hyundai, the manufacturers, are absolutely working on a fix for some of the issues. But it's not a quick fix. And even once they find how to fix it, like, it's going to take a while to implement to everybody's car. So we do the best we can with what we have, and use our clubs and use our neighbors and try to live safely.
Well, we're looking forward to the fix. And until then, we're looking forward to them to continuing to also donate clubs to local dealerships as they have been. Unfortunately, we are out of time, and we'd like to thank our guest, Captain Christi Marks with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department. And thank you for joining us. The show may be over, but you can always find us doing good things on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, or visit us at stltv.net. I'm Jami Ballantyne-Dolby for Amber Clear and Taylor Symone Harris. We'll see you next time on Let's Talk. I think they're gonna have us start again. Amber, I don't know if you were up.
Oh God, sorry. I literally was looking up. So I work at a car dealership, so I know that like Hyundai and Kia, the manufacturers, are absolutely working on a fix, but that is not a quick thing to implement. So I was looking up if there was any news on that really quick. So
okay, she want us to restart the?
Yeah, let's restart that.
Yeah. Okay.